just as we were walking by, I was asking Neil what does the word Maya mean, and he started talking about how there was an Indian god named Maya, and it's the god of illusion. So he has a belief that the word Maya actually means illusion, and the Mayans believed that this reality was an illusion. But as we were talking about that, we come across a tamarind tree, and it's very interesting. Sol and I used to think that this was straight from Mexico, but it actually is originally from India.
As are many things that Mexicans believe that are native to our land, but they're not, like the mango.
So obviously through the spice trade, like the mango and many other spices came and were dropped off here, and they were inherited by the local culture, and it became a part of their culture, and they've been using it ever since and taking it on as their own. So it's just interesting to note how everything comes from everywhere. So there's some sort of connection there that hasn't been explored, where even their spiritualism was really in connection, in alignment with Indian traditions. So the word cacao comes from the Olmec word cacao, but the word chocolate is actually a combination of the Mayan word choco, which means hot, and ha, which means water. The resulting word choco ha refers to the hot cocoa-based drink that was drunk by the Mayans. And then here is the glyph for cacao. So the origin of the cacao bean is not known. It's thought to have come from an area between Venezuela and Brazil, but it really isn't known because transporting cacao is really difficult, and the cacao bean, the cacao seed, would need to be planted within 10 days of being taken. So if it was, say, from here, somewhere between Venezuela and Brazil, and then when 10 days needed to be taken up to Central America in order to be planted, it would be very difficult to do that. So the theory is that it went with native routes, trade routes, over thousands of years, and it slowly kind of made its way up north. So cocoa beans were so rare in the 15th to 16th century that it was used as currency alongside obsidian and alongside copper. There were 3 different forms of currency in cacao that was utilized in order to exchange. And you can see right here, a rabbit was worth, 10 cacao beans, and a slave at one point, a slave in good health, went for 100 cocoa beans. And this continued up until even past the 16th century, after the Spanish conquest of Central America, and it actually increased in value, whereas soon the cacao bean, being so rare, actually became very close to the same amount as 1 real, which was used in Spain. The oldest evidence of coca used as a drink was found in pre-Olmec pottery in the Veracruz region and in Moncaya, the pottery found in the Solcunzo region of Chiapas coast, dating back to 2000 BC. And the drink was prepared by roasting, peeling, and grinding cocoa beans, and the resulting paste was then mixed with water and spices. The chocolate was beaten to produce a large amount of foam, which was especially valued by the nobles and offered to the gods. You can see right here kind of the process of how it was done. Roasted, ground, diluted, foam right there, poured, and then shaked. This is just some of what they used. Cacao in the Yucatan was and always has been really rare. It doesn't just grow everywhere. It has to be grown in a microclimate. So the cocoa tree was actually ideal to be grown near cenotes, which are basically when ancient meteorites hit this area, Yucatan area, some time ago, underground lakes would come up and fill up the cenotes and create these beautiful, pristine microclimates and basically sinkholes. And however, in the ones with too much water, it didn't work out. There were some cenotes that only had a little bit of water in them that would create the perfect microclimate and the perfect shade for cacao trees. And that's where the Mayans would grow the cacao. And here is the process of selecting the cocoa beans. The impurities would have to be removed, like stones, moldy, broken beans, or pods with no beans. This can be done manually or sometimes with this type of sieve. It's slowly dried under the hot rays of the sun. It's very common to see a small producer drying his cocoa in the patio of his home with the most recommended recommendation, like the cocoa would be on wood racks, just like this right here. And then there's the process of fermentation. It takes about 36 hours for these cocoa beans to be fully fermented. You can see right here, fermented beans. Those are the washed ones before they're fermented. The cacao tree has really deep roots, and the oldest technique would be they would basically put the cacao seed in a bag and put it directly in the ground. However, recently with grafting and the new advancements in how we grow plants, there's been grafting. And here we see the routes on the years on when cacao went to different areas of the world, and it's really amazing. If you start with number 1, we go Mexico to the Philippines in 1670, then the Philippines to the island of Abon, 1750 to 1778, Philippines to Indonesia, and then Indonesia and the Philippines and Sri Lanka, and then we got Sri Lanka to Madagascar, and then we got Trinidad in 1880, and you can see it keeps going on. So this is basically how it was taken from Central America and taken all over the world. The cacao bean obviously connects to many different traditions, and within the spiritual community there's cacao ceremonies all the time in which they're utilizing this sacred plant in ceremony to bring in spirits, upliftment, positivity, energy, combining it with yoga and different types of practices. Reason for this is cacao is not only the highest, or at least one of the highest antioxidants on the planet, but it's been used as a sacred medicine, as you saw in the ceremony earlier, for thousands of years. And cacao is just extremely good for you all around, and without the sugar and without the processing, it's really something pure. And it's interesting when you talk about chocolate, it's almost like a guilty pleasure, but the original chocolate was bitter tasting, wasn't even sugary, and was literally there in order to heal and align you. Like, I just had a cup of cacao, I had heartburn, and now I don't have heartburn anymore. Like, it literally does heal you. So it's interesting to note that it's kind of been become something that it really wasn't originally intended for.
Cheers. Salud. Salud a la vida. Cheers. Y el cacao.
Cheers.
So I hope you all enjoyed the history of cacao. There's a few things we missed about, obviously, the Spanish conquistadors and them coming down here and them taking cacao all over the world, and what they did and how they exploited the cacao bean and the Mayan people, and how cacao and chocolate just became worldwide and prevalent. And they added sugar to it, and whereas naturally it was with cinnamon and chili. So a lot of different variations, but this is where, cacao and cocoa and chocolate began.